Okay, 311.7.1 tells us that the stairway has to be above the permitted handrail, not less than 36 inches in width. Now at and below the handrail, it can't be less than 31.5 inches with one handrail, and if there's two handrails, it can't be less than 27 inches. The minimum headroom required is 6 feet 8 inches from the slope of the ceiling to the nosing or the landing. So it's a perpendicular line from the nosing of the stair to the slope of the ceiling coming down. 6 feet 8 inches is the minimum that it can be. The maximum vertical rise between flights of stairs is 12 feet 7 inches. So greater than 12 feet 7 inches, you have to have a landing and start your next flight of stairs. Now the maximum riser height of the stairs is 7 3/4 inches, and that's measured vertically from the tread below to the tread above. 7 3/4 is the max, and there can't be more than a 3/8 inch difference between the highest and the lowest. So in this example, if you had a rise of 7 3/4, and so that was your greatest rise, 7 3/4, and your smallest rise was 7 3/8, and let's say 7 5/8 in between, then that would meet the requirement. You'd only have a 3/8 inch difference. Also, 311.7.6 of the IRC states that there has to be a landing at the top of the stairs and at the bottom of the stairs, and the width of that landing has to be at least the width of the stairs in the direction of travel. If you have 4 or more risers, then you're required to have a graspable handrail, and at least that graspable handrail has to be at least on one side of the stairs. Handrail height is measured from the nose of the tread to the top of the handrail, and it has to be a minimum of 34 inches and a maximum of 38 inches. The handrail cannot project more than 4.5 inches away from the wall on either side of the stairway. And where it returns, it has to have a minimum of 1.5 inches clearance so that you can get your hand in there. So from the wall to the handrail, it has to have a minimum of 1.5 inches clearance. The handrails have to return to a newel post, and they have to start at the highest riser and end at the lowest riser. And there has to be continuity in the handrail. It can be broken by a landing and then start up again for another flight of stairs. But if it's one flight of stairs, it has to be continuity from top to bottom, above highest riser and stopping at the lowest riser. And as I mentioned, the handrail has to be graspable. So there's a couple of type 1 examples up here. If it's circular, it has to be a minimum of 1.25 inches, a maximum of 2 inches. If it's shaped like kind of a mushroom, it has to be a maximum of 2.25 and a diagonal. If it's non-circular, it can be a maximum of 6.25 inches and a minimum of 4 inches. And then there's an example of a metal handrail that has to be a maximum of 2.25 inches wide.